I'm Austin.
And I'm Cloud.
And this is We Watch Spookies.
Today's movie is Halloween. Halloween is a 1978 horror thriller slasher film directed by John Carpenter, starring Donald Pleasance, Jamie Lee Curtis, PJ Solis, and Nancy Loomis. How about plot synopsis?
Well, a 6-year-old Michael kills his, I guess, sister, then gets put into an asylum of some sort. And after 15 years, he escapes, goes back home, digs up his sister's grave. No, he just pulls the stone out.
Just the stone,
Yeah,
yeah.
he just pulls the stone out. Okay. And then he terrorizes the people who are now living in the neighborhood that he used to live in, and kills people doing it before he gets stabbed 3 times and shot 5, and then just is fucking magic. And we're not even to the part where it's oh yeah, he is kind of magic. No, there's none. It's
yeah,
what is
okay.
this?
See, that's the thing. We're doing this movie.
Yes.
This one. So what may come after is not important and does not exist yet. So the same as it was with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies. The story of the family and whatever. That's not in this movie. So it's the books don't matter to a movie. Although in the case of this book, it has some things in it that aren't in the movie, which is weird. Not uncommon for there to be more stuff in the novelization of a movie than ended up in the movie, because often they're working from early scripts and things. But
yeah,
generally you don't have full-on contradictions like there are a couple of, apparently. But in this movie, there's no magic, right? Not really. There's no explanation of outright magic. He's just a kid that kills somebody. He goes to an asylum. He escapes from the asylum.
There's evil behind those eyes.
Yeah, but then there kind of is magic. It seems because he disappears from time to time.
Stabbed in the neck, stabbed in the gut, shot 5 times, because at least one's missed. At least one missed, I counted. And then it's just no, he's just...
Well, and I think that's one of the things that hurts it for me, is that it's not magic, but it is.
Yeah.
So it's we're told this is just this guy. He was a kid, now he grew up.
Nothing special.
Except that he's especially crazy, because Donald Pleasance's character says, I spent 8 years trying to help him, or 6 years trying to help him, and then the next 8 years trying to make sure he stayed locked up. So I guess, but it also says that he hasn't spoken since the murder. So yeah. He spent a long time.
But has he spoken before?
Trying to, well, not that we see. How do we know? He just, now maybe there's supposed to be some evil force or curse or something that made him kill his sister in the first place, because there doesn't seem to be any reason that he did, and he's pretty young to have anything against anybody.
Yep.
And it's also the longest ever knife to just have commonly at hand. Where does he get the new knife? It's not the same knife, right? He didn't bust it out of the...
No, he just took it out of the kitchen whenever he goes into the house.
I guess, but it's a big knife.
Oh, no. There was a knife that when he broke into the hardware store.
The hardware store.
Yeah, because he's rope and a knife.
Yeah.
It's just some kids pulling a prank with the rope and a knife. As you have said, we are the police. We will be of no help.
Yes, I that was something that was a run throughout this whole thing. Every time the police would show up, I would just say that, "Hi, we're the police. We won't be any help later," and they are not.
No, not even.
They are
a little
not
bit.
Any help, because then it's not Donald Pleasance. It shoots him even. The police aren't even there. So. But so just this, he's just a guy, which instead of he's just a guy, except he's got a chainsaw and he's big, even as maybe not as scary as it was supposed to be in Chainsaw Massacre, that was, at least it was like clear what was happening.
Yeah.
And I guess the point in this is supposed to be you don't understand how it works. You know, that it's like the Storm of the Century thing, the Stephen King thing from the beginning of Alan Wake. Like, there can't be an answer and there shouldn't be one. But because he's just supposed to be regular, but then he does seemingly magic things like vanish from place to place. I'm just like, so what's the rules?
Mm-hmm.
Is he magic? Is he not? Should I just not? Is it not? He's gonna kill everybody because he's a serial killer. Scary, and he wears a mask. Scary enough, or does he have to have like these elements of magic that don't have any explanation? And it makes it difficult to be like, oh, he's coming up, because even like Slender Man has rules. Like, he works in like impossible magic ways, but at least there's ways that it works. Like, he can't come closer while you're looking, except while you're looking he's also doing whatever it is that he does to you, and if you look away you might can escape, but then he might show up right behind you because he can teleport when you're not looking. But so it's difficult to deal with because it's not ordinary, but at least there are rules. And so there are things you understand, like you're playing by the rules and you still can't really do anything. But in this, it's just like, we can't do anything. Nothing to be scared about. Just wait to get killed. And so it ends up kind of being, let's just wait for all of these people to get killed. And it turns out for me that I think the best thing about it is the music, because the music is really good.
Yeah, the music
I like
is
John Carpenter
really good.
music. But
well, I don't know why he's targeting the one lady, because she doesn't even look like the sister.
No,
so like,
not
there's no
really.
real reason to do it. But like the other people, he just kind of kills off like it's no big thing.
Yeah.
But he like stalks her, and it's just like, but why?
I don't know. Well, is that his house?
No, like we already went to the house where he grew up in. It was
yeah,
empty.
and nobody's there. Yeah, because Donald Pleasance walks around with the police not being any help. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what he's after. I don't know what the point is. And it's again in the way that Texas Chainsaw Massacre isn't. It isn't actually that violent.
No.
You don't really see very much. Often when the killings happen, it's in first person and the knife goes below frame, or like it's not.
It's very clean.
It's clean, yeah. So it's more implied violence than literal violence, or visible violence, which I'm okay with.
Yeah.
But, this one is a difficult case because this is one of those where we've talked before about how often reviews, like you go and look at reviews on the like aggregator sites and they tend to be recent. And so sometimes it's like putting something down and not putting it in the context of the time it was in. And so it's different than reading contemporary reviews.
Yeah.
Some of the reviews at the time were positive. The Village Voice review was. Roger Ebert's review actually was. But most of them weren't. They were sort of like, when there's no killing happening, nothing of story consequences happening, so it's kind of boring in between. And you're just kind of waiting for the next time for somebody to get killed. And that it's not really scary, it's not really effective, it's just kind of like schlocky and not really it tries to lean on violence to be scary or something. And it wasn't really that positive, and most of the positivity of it came around later, after people looked back and realized that even though it's not really the first slasher movie, because there's Texas Chainsaw Massacre kind of qualifies, and there's another movie from the same year called Black Christmas, where a bunch of people get killed in a sorority house, that has many of the slasher movie elements in it, and that was also in 1974, along with Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So those are earlier, and then it took another 5 years for this to come around. But this is the one that everything does really stem from. This is where you get even the ones that are going to come fairly quickly after the Friday the 13th and Elm Street movies. Most of the real tropiness of slasher movies does kind of start here, even though not entirely. But because of that, it's held in much higher esteem than it was originally. And now, it may not be fair to hold it to what people thought of it originally, because sometimes it goes the other way, or sometimes it goes that way and it's positive because there was just something people didn't understand. I mentioned Godfather 2 a lot. It wasn't well reviewed at the time, and then people watched it a few more times and realized that it was just, they didn't understand it the first time. But I don't know if that's the case here, because I'm not sure that there's much else to find. That doesn't stop people from trying to find things in it. People have postulated of many analysis of it, about all of the stuff that we think of as being slasher movie things, where they're getting killed as punishment for sex for various reasons, or that it's misogynistic because everybody's getting killed as women, and that, especially being that a lot of the time you're in first person from the Michael Myers perspective, you're supposed to associate with him, and so it's being like you're identifying with the bad guy, and that's negative. John Carpenter says all that's bogus. Like, I didn't mean any of that.
Yeah, like, okay,
but,
so like,
but people have found it in it.
He kills his sister, and we get that from his perspective as a child, and then he kills the guy that's driving the truck.
Yeah.
We don't see it, but we see the body.
Yeah.
And then he kills the Annie, or he kills the dog.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't even get to see that because, animals. And then and then Annie's killed, and we see it from no one's perspective except ours.
Yeah.
Then he kills Bob. He kills Bob, and we get that from a side shot. And then he kills the Bob's girl, and then that's it.
Well, it's not. It's the killing is the beginning moment, but then there's a lot of times where you have kind of slow moving shots pushing in on things from distance. That's apparently supposed to be Michael walking towards things, or we're seeing it for like him watching people before he goes to kill them. That a lot of that is at least interpreted as being supposed to be first person from Michael.
That's fine, but that's not him killing
well, no, but
someone
it's still
from first person.
You're in first person of the bad guy. So even if it's not while he's doing the killing, even though it is that one time, then you're still spending a lot of time in his head. So he becomes the focus of it, and you're seeing it through his eyes, and so he becomes the protagonist in a way, I think is what people are trying to say. But
sounds weak.
It does sound weak. So I think this is a case of it being... We talked a lot in the Gojira episode about how there's all of this stuff that people... You hear people talk about, like, oh, it means this and it means that, and you think, it probably didn't. And then, like, it actually did.
Yeah.
And then all of that got lost in the later movies where it didn't mean those things anymore. It was just the first one, mainly. In this case, I think it is people finding things where there's nothing to find. And Carpenter says, no, that's not what I meant. I didn't mean anything. I just wanted to make a scary movie. Like, that was what I wanted to do. So he says it's all bunk. It's always nice to see Donald Pleasence.
Yep.
He doesn't get a whole ton to do except speak frightenedly to the police and I guess, like, to one other person, maybe. Like, he doesn't really get a lot to do. He just walks around looking worried for most of it.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit of a shame. But he actually did come back for some of the later ones also. I'm not sure how much else I have to say, because mostly I'm just like, wasn't that scary? Wasn't that interesting? What are the rules? Donald Pleasence. Importance after the fact. I don't really have a whole ton more, because there's not, like, really not that much happens. There's not a lot of things to just describe in detail, and it's only an hour and a half long, so you might as well just go and watch it.
Well, I understand that this movie's supposed to be, like, on Halloween, but But why are you carrying a pumpkin that hasn't already been carved? You know.
Oh, yeah.
Why are some kids trick or treating while others aren't? Like, do they just didn't want to? Where are the parents at? Like, there's just so much weird.
Yeah, I don't know where the parents are. That was
shit
something else.
That doesn't seem to fit that kind of neighborhood for Halloween.
Yeah.
Like, why?
Well, that was something else that some of the analytical type critics did think also, was that it was criticizing the false safety that kind of white bread suburban American neighborhoods think they have, as opposed to like big urban environments or less white bread neighborhoods. Just that it was, and because there's no parents around, there's nobody to watch the kids, nobody comes to help. You're walking around what you think is the safe neighborhood. Oh, look, there's a guy over there that's probably going to kill you later. Oh, look, he's not there anymore. So there's just all of this, like, your neighborhood is not safe like you think it is. But it is odd that there's just no parents. Now, maybe they're all just irresponsible parents and they're like, it's Halloween, we're going to parties.
Well,
screw the kids.
Like, okay, so like the only parents that I ever remember seeing is, one, you have the town sheriff.
Yeah, he's a parent, but he's a parent of one of the babysitters, right?
Yeah,
not one of the kids. So the little kids just don't have parents.
Well, that's the thing, is like there's one scene that we see where, like, I guess it's supposed to be a mom, like she looked like she was older than all of the teens, but like she opens the door and like 4 kids come out of the house.
Yeah, and
that's it. We see like 2 adults and everybody else is either like teenagers or little kids, and so like okay, that's fine. But my concern is you have the little boy and the little girl who are being babysitted.
Yeah. Because
for some reason, they're not trick-or-treating. My question is, why are they not trick-or-treating? Because that's never explained. It's just, oh, I got to watch so-and-so, and I've got to go watch so-and-so, and this girl, her boyfriend is grounded, so he can't leave, but that's going to be like a plot thing later. I'm like, okay, but why do these kids need babysitting anyways? Like, why can't they go trick-or-treating? Why aren't they part of a group? You know, like, it's like there's all of this stuff that doesn't make sense, like, in a social aspect of it.
Yeah.
You know, like, shouldn't there be, like, a party that the teenagers are supposed to go to or some shit?
Probably. I mean, I've seen Casper, so...
Yeah. Like, there's that... the pumpkins not having already been carved.
Yeah, and carving the jack-o'-lantern on Halloween night is like putting the Christmas tree up on Christmas Eve. Like, now you get one day, and then it's just like sad and overstayed its welcome after that.
Yeah.
Because it's not just festive and fall. Like, you passed your time with it. You got to do something with it.
And I'm not hating on anyone's skills for carving pumpkins, but all of the pumpkins that we see that are carved look like shit.
They're carved by regular people.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, no, like, it's like they didn't even try. And it's not even like the classic, like, we're gonna make like triangle eyes and like the
they tried too hard and weren't very good at it, and so it ended up being not very good.
Yeah, like, I don't know, it's
they have weird shaped pumpkins too. Like, they didn't get round. Like, you normally, when you're gonna carve a jack-o'-lantern, you try to get like the roundest one you can. But yeah, they're like
someone smushed them as they were growing.
Yeah. They're like twice as wide as they are tall, and so putting a face on it at all is probably difficult.
And then every time there is like an actual jack-o'-lantern that's been carved and sitting on a porch, for some reason the camera always wants to have focus on it.
Mm-hmm.
So the focus on the jack-o'-lantern itself ruins the focus of everything else, or it's all in focus and it looks terrible.
Yeah, well, I think it's supposed to be it's Halloween, it's jack-o'-lanterns. I mean, the poster is a really neat poster where it's the hand with the knife and it's repeated in shadow several times, which forms the front of a jack-o'-lantern.
Yeah.
I don't really understand why that's the imagery of this, because there's no association with it unless it's you use a knife to carve pumpkins. The boys like boogeyman thing doesn't make any sense or track, because I've never had any association with the boogeyman in Halloween. I thought the boogeyman was all the time.
The boogeyman comes out at night from underneath your bed or your closet or something, you know, that kind of shit. Well, like even with the Powerpuff Girls. You remember the Powerpuff Girls and there was the episode with the boogeyman?
I don't remember that. No. I'm surprised because I thought I remembered most of the episodes, but...
The boogeyman did disco and there was always like the parties that were
at
late at night.
Yeah.
Something to boogie. And the boogeyman like danced. It's ridiculous.
But it's not.
It's the boogeyman. Well, what's the boogeyman look like? He looks like the boogeyman. Okay, can you not like? Does he have 6 legs? Does he have 2? Like, use words. What did you see? You know, pretend it's not the boogeyman. Pretend it's something else. Now describe it.
Yeah.
I saw the boogeyman. No, stop. Just stop. We're gonna watch The Thing.
Well.
And everybody else seemed to be watching it at the same time.
Yeah, well, it's still the 70s. There's not that many TV channels.
Hey, I'm okay with that. It's a good movie, anyways.
Yeah, it's actually something interesting because it may just be that he misremembered in Roger Ebert's review. He mentions them watching the movie on TV, and he says it's The Thing, but it's not The Thing. It's Forbidden Planet.
No, they watched both.
They did?
Yeah, like The Thing was the first one that was on at both houses.
Oh, okay.
Because like we get to see it at first with the boy, and we actually see the title for it, The Thing, and then we get to see it at the girl's house when they're outside, like in the ice and snow. But then later, when they're both in the same house, that's when they're watching Forbidden Planet. Yeah.
Well, according to AC/DC, the boogeyman smokes big cigars, drives a long Cadillac, and haunts hotel bars. So.
And they don't have any hotel bars.
No. How does he know how to drive? Because even Donald Pleasance is like, but how? Or does he say how, or does somebody else? And then he says...
No, the other guy says, like, how does he know how to drive?
He says someone must have taught him, but how could that possibly be? Who would that have been?
Like, who would have wanted to talk to him?
No, well, he doesn't talk, so you can't talk. I guess you can talk at him,
yeah,
but you can't talk to him.
At him.
He doesn't talk back.
All right. So the friend Annie, who is not okay and was killed by a not smooth criminal, she goes out to the car without her keys. And she tries to open the door, and the door's locked. Okay? So she goes back inside the house and gets the keys. Goes back out to the car and opens the door. And
thinks
does
nothing of it.
She doesn't think of it until she's already inside, and then it's like she realizes, wait a second, the car door was locked. And then that's whenever she's being killed.
Yeah.
My question is, why was that necessary? Because because you can't lock the car and be inside. It's just, it doesn't make sense. Because if he's going to lock the car, he's got to be already inside the car to lock it.
Yeah.
Because if the car's locked and he's on the outside, he can't get in. But he's already in it. So the car had to be unlocked. So he had to get in the car and then lock it. But why? Why not just get in the car and then she gets in it and then he kills her instead of being like, oh, well, I'm going to lock it so she brings the keys? Like,
I guess so. I mean, it's weird. Like, why would she not bring her keys anyway?
In the first place,
if the door is unlocked, she can't start it.
Exactly.
So, unless, I mean, it's kind of an older car. I know, like, what people used to do is you could turn the ignition, like, part way and still take the key out sometimes. And so you could, like, my uncle's, one of his old trucks was like that, where he could, and sometimes he would leave his keys places and not realize because he would just start the truck and drive off and it would not need the keys to do it.
I knew a guy who would do it with a knife.
Yeah.
Like, his ignition was just shit. And
people put a screwdriver in there or something.
He just... anything that was long enough for him to stick in it.
Yeah.
Just bam. And he just started that way. And I'm like, I'm not getting in that truck.
That's kind of an uncommon thing, though,
Yeah.
so I don't think that was what she was going to do. I mean, it is because he needs the keys, I guess, but he wouldn't know that she wouldn't bring the keys already, except
Why would
maybe
he need
would
the keys?
because...
Because the keys isn't to the house that they're in, because she's babysitting at that house. That's not her house.
Yeah. I don't know.
Doesn't make
It
any
doesn't
sense.
make any sense. Oh, I think maybe the reason she's being specifically targeted is because he blames her for being part of the selling of the house because she drops the keys off for her dad, who's the realtor.
Ah, yes.
I didn't remember that from the time, but apparently that here in the plot it says that, so that's why.
All right. Okay, well, now let's talk about him for a second. When we see him, the first time we see him as a kid. All right, and then it's that whole 15 years later thing.
Yeah, I think he's like 6 or something at the beginning.
And he must be pretty beast to kill his sister as a 6-year-old.
Well, she doesn't fight back very much.
It doesn't even matter if she's fighting back. Like, you still have to have the strength to stab someone to death. And so, like, I'm going to give him some credit. Like, he must have been a beast as a child. And then spends the 15 years, comes back out, all that kind of shit. And we don't see him except for, like, some silhouettes and stuff. So I want to know where he gets the mask.
Yeah, the mask, I don't know.
All right, so that happens. But if you pay attention to any time that he's around, even though we don't really see him up close to make out detail, if you look really close, he's wearing his mask the entire time. Like, every time we see him in the movie, he's always got the mask on. Even whenever it's unnecessary for the shot, like, he's still wearing it.
Yeah.
And maybe this might be because just in case his face does get in it, they don't want to show it accidentally, even if it's a good take.
Yeah.
Because whenever
it's hard to, when you're shooting on film, it's hard to tell whether you got the lighting just right, or whether something might show, or what exactly is in focus.
You never know.
You don't
and
know
so you
later.
better be safe than sorry. But I think that it's weird, and it pans out really good at the same time. Whenever the boy that is being babysitted, we get him at school, and that's when he's being picked on by the other kids, saying the boogeyman's going to come and get him.
Yeah.
And he's holding the pumpkin, and he falls, smashes the pumpkin, and the kids start to run off. And we get one that runs towards us, towards the camera, and then as he turns, there he is. And he bends over and, like, grabs the kid's shoulders. And you're like, holy shit, what's going to go on? And the way the camera moves is we catch his face for, like, maybe a second at the most. Because his face drops into frame and then pulls back out. And if you're paying attention, he's wearing the mask.
Mm-hmm.
All right? A little bit later on, we catch... Now, this could be a different actor. It doesn't matter. It's the fact that it is the character, and the character is wearing the mask. Because later on, as he is staking places out in the vehicle that he stole, he's wearing the mask inside the car.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know how that affects his vision.
I don't know. I mean, it has eye cutouts. Didn't seem to bother Leatherface that much.
Yeah, but...
And that was an actual other person's face, so it wasn't even made to wear. He does get it taken off for one moment.
Yeah. Well, like, she's, like, pulling at his face, and it pulls off, and that stops him.
Yeah, which is kind of odd, because there's nothing, like, he doesn't have a disfigurement, and it doesn't seem like he's going to kill her anyway. What does it matter if she sees what he looks like? There isn't the normal reason why the slasher character wears a mask, because they don't want to be seen or because they're ashamed or something. He just wears it because it's creepy, I guess, and it doesn't really have any other reason. Mm-hmm. And I don't know where he got it.
Yeah,
at least, like, Leatherface took a face from someone. So
somebody else was wearing that when he took it from him. All right, so okay, he's in the car that he stole. It's got all these markings and everything on it, so we know it's like one of those government vehicles or something. And he's following these two girls because they're on their way to go to the houses where they're babysitting, and he follows them. And whenever we see him begin to follow them, it's still daylight out. Now, I
Yeah.
know in October it does get dark faster.
It gets dark.
It gets like full on dark. Like it's already 10 o'clock dark. No twilight setting. No, dusk. None of that. It's at least 4, maybe 5 at the most, and then bam, it is 10.
Yeah. It's full dark.
It is full dark. And if he really is like I think they could have shot that a little bit better, something where it's not as dark, just to illustrate this point. But like, my God, like this one person follows you the entire distance and no one notices. Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because it's like they drove for 4 hours.
Yeah.
It's and we get it in a cut. It's just, it doesn't fade or there's no passage of time. It's just like time of day that it is, full dark, one cut.
All right, now with him being all this magic kind of business, because it's like there's all this stuff that goes on with him. Like, it's like, since he is a primary focus of the movie, it's like all this kind of shit that goes on around him. Whenever, I don't even remember her name, the main lady who doesn't die.
Jamie Lee Curtis's character, yeah.
Yeah. She's in her room, looking out her window, and sees him in the neighbor's yard.
Yeah.
And does not break eye contact. Now, camera does, but he just fucking disappears.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Like,
it's a
he
cheat.
disappears
it's
as
camera cheats.
Yeah, it's like, come on
unless
now.
he's actually magic and he just, then it makes no sense.
Like,
Because you would have seen him walk away.
Like, did they think about that as they were filming it? Whenever they were doing some of the pre-pro for this? Like, come on now, come on. At least have her turn her head so she breaks the contact, turns back, bam, he's gone. I'm like, okay, that'd be perfectly fine.
Because otherwise, it's just for us.
Yeah,
and just for us is cheating.
Slow zoom of pumpkin. God damn it. My notes went black. Just like the night sky. My note on it says it got hard dark. Hard dark.
Okay.
The radio talking about fate and being dumb.
Oh, I don't even remember that.
Oh, the comic books! The comic books are like the most... Okay, so this kid's got these comic books that he's like hiding underneath the couch. It's not even his bed, it's the couch, because his mom won't let him have them.
They're the lamest, most generic comic books.
Tarantula Man. Like, I would read that. Okay, so he kills the lady, he drags the lady out of the car, puts the lady in the house, don't know why. Sets up the tombstone there. It's not his sister, so we don't understand why he's doing that. The house seems to have no light switches, and no one uses them, which is always a dumb... Like, come on, people. Like, if you're going to make a horror movie, and you want it to be dark, at least have them flip the light switch, and the lights just don't work or something.
Yeah, at least have them try.
Yeah.
Because why would you just walk around in the dark?
Exactly. If you want a horror movie to be good, it needs to be based around characters doing smart things that are logical and failing.
Well, and they could... I mean, that's what I mean. That's what the Slender Man rules. Like, you're following the rules, you're still probably going to die, and there's nothing you can do. That's what makes it scary, is that you're not getting killed because you're stupid.
What insurance company was that did the horror movie trailer? That kind of thing.
Oh, it's Geico, because it's
it's Geico.
If you're in a horror movie, you make bad decisions.
Yeah.
It's what you do. Or maybe it's not.
Let's hide behind this wall of chainsaws, and the guy just takes off the mask. Like, y'all are dumb.
No, it's progressive, I think.
Either
Maybe,
way,
whatever.
Like watch that commercial, and then don't do the very opposite.
Chainsaws.
Let's get in the running car. Stab him more than once, please. Like, a lot. Because this guy is trying to kill you, and you have to protect these children.
No, it is Geico.
No fucking light switches.
He did see that, and they could have done the light switch thing, because she tries to call for help on the phone, but it's been disconnected.
Yeah.
So
how he managed to... Because
I don't know.
They even show like a fucking open window, and then he's like he teleported.
He does teleport,
Just-
yes. There's nothing else that it could be. He just teleports, and I don't know how. Because he's just a 6-year-old that killed someone 15 years ago.
Okay. This probably wouldn't work, but I thought about it like right when it was gonna happen. All right, so she hides in the closet. Like she opens the door to make it look like she went outside, because it's the balcony door or something or another. Because they're upstairs and it's like the master bedroom with like the wide closet. She opens the door, huddles over to the closet, goes inside, and then locks it. Now, because it's not her house, I can kind of understand this not working. But let's say it's your house and you got shit in the floor of your closet, right? Preferably clothes.
Mm-hmm.
And you're trying to escape from somebody, and you know you can't really escape from them, so you want to hide.
Mm-hmm.
Don't close the closet door. Like, open up another thing that makes it look like, like, oh, we're going to open up the door for the balcony. Like, okay. Maybe throw some stuff out so it looks like you caused a mess trying to leave. And you hide in the closet, and you put the stuff over you, but you leave the closet door open. Because somebody who isn't being rational and thinking about hunting somebody may not see, like, oh, the closet's open. They're not hiding in there because it's open. But then if they do look, then you're hiding underneath the clothes, which would be in the closet anyways. But no, she's like, oh, I'm going to lock it and tie it up, and then I'm just going to make all these sounds because I'm not hiding anymore. I'm just putting this really flimsy door that I'm surprised he just didn't rip through.
Yeah.
Because it's like the scene from The Shining, like, here's Johnny, only it's dumb.
Which actually hadn't happened yet.
Yeah.
At this point, because The Shining is, I think, 81, something like that. So it's 81, 82 something. So this actually predates that.
It's just it's kind of ridiculous, and it's not scary. And then he gets shot a lot, and then falls out the off the balcony.
Yeah.
And then he disappears.
Yeah.
And the lady looks at the doctor. It's like, is that the boogeyman? Because now she's even part of it now.
Uh-huh.
And he looks at her, and he says yes.
Uh-huh.
And I was thinking about the least painful way to die.
Shining was 1980, so.
Oh, okay.
2 years later.
And then, but it's
yeah.
For all the fans, I can understand. Replacing that, is he the boogeyman with not yet?
Well,
because we got several movies. We got like
5 movies.
Magic incantations and superpowers and stuff that doesn't make any sense. But
all that's later.
We're just gonna expand this story.
Now
it doesn't make it better.
It does. The poster tagline for this is "The night he," in italics, came home. Which, I guess, he comes home to the neighborhood. Who is he anyway? Like, it's not like he's well known already because this is the first movie.
No.
So,
well, even for the neighborhood, like, no one remembers who he is.
No.
It's like, the house was ran down. It's haunted. The kids are daring each other. So, okay. The doctor and the sheriff go inside the house, right?
Uh-huh.
And they see something which we don't get to see. And they make it sound like he just picked up like a carcass or something, threw it on the table, and that's what he was eating.
I guess?
Like, that's what they make it sound like when they're talking about it. But, like, the sheriff still seems, like, unconcerned and unbelieving. And I'm like, listen, I don't care. If I'm the sheriff and this doctor shows up and he's like, yeah, one of my patients escaped and he's known for murdering people because he's crazy, and this used to be his house, and I think he's back here. I even checked the graveyard because he killed his sister, and the tombstone for his sister's grave is missing. This man is psycho, and we need to do something about it. So we go into the house without a warrant, and we just see a fucking carcass of an animal on the table. It's not cooked, nothing. It's like, I'm inclined to believe this man. I am now more active into, let's see if we can actually do something. Not, I don't really think it's going to happen. It's just some kids pulling pranks on each other.
Uh-huh. Hi, we're the police. We won't be any help. Now, to contrast that movie Black Christmas, the poster line on it is, "If this picture doesn't make your skin crawl, it's on too tight."
What?
Too tight is all caps. Yeah. Horror movie posters are bad.
If this movie doesn't make, if this picture doesn't make your skin crawl, then it's too tight.
Yeah.
'Cause cats.
Yeah. I mean, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre one, I don't remember if we actually read it on the episode, was who will survive and what will be left of them. So, not really much better.
Sounds like a tagline for like the Robot War TV show,
Kind of, yeah.
which is actually really cool.
Kind of tips its hand a little bit, I think. Although it's called the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and immediately the narration is like, something terrible happened. Something they had never seen anything as bad as before. It was horrifying. This is that story. So I guess right away they're like, bad things gonna happen. It's not a surprise.
Well, at least they said it accurately enough where it's just the people involved and not in general.
Yeah.
Because, you know...
Yeah, it's weird when
'cause-
you turn it around to the audience.
World War One.
Who will be left and what will be left? Who will survive and
Concentration
what will be left
camps,
and-
bro.
Well, there were no concentration camps in World War One.
No, I'm saying like World War One.
Oh.
Pause. Concentration camps. Pause. Insert the Hiroshima. Come on now. Like, we got some shit we can list.
Yeah.
At least it's just these hippies.
Yeah.
But that was a different movie. We don't have any hippies in this movie.
No, just...
But we have tits.
Yeah.
And we have like jokes about tits.
I mean, not as much as in Slitmouth Woman.
Oh god.
But, but definitely some. So, did you find your sadism encouraged by the movie, as the critics accuse?
Nah.
Yeah. So how do we feel about stars?
I'm gonna give it 3. I know it seems like it would be a bit high for what I said, but you know, I was just talking about specifics.
Yeah.
Like, outside of the whole that can't work and that can't work and what is this guy fucking magic? Like, outside of that, like some of the stuff that they used and how the story was built up, I thought was decent. Especially for like when this came out, and since there wasn't really much before it to say do better than us. So it's
all
like,
you really have is Hitchcock, I guess.
yeah, and so it's like okay, it's not too bad, and you know it did go by pretty quickly.
I mean,
So
it's
it was
a lot
entertaining.
better than Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh yes.
So if it built on that, at least it built something a little better. I guess it's 3. I mean, I know I made it sound like I didn't like it either. And I don't think that it's like the boom canon of horror movies that it's thought of, at least now. But it's fine.
It does
guess.
make me want to watch like the remakes just to see like, and not the sequels. I mean like the actual remakes for this movie, because I want to know like how people saw this and it was like we can make it scarier. We can make it better. Because that's something I want to do. I want to go and I want to watch the remakes of these movies, and then compare it in the sense of what they changed and why they changed it. So you might just get that later.
I do think that maybe I like John Carpenter when he's doing things like the Escape From movies more than his horror movies.
Yeah,
Because I think he can direct a fine movie, but although I don't know, I guess The Thing is scary. But
yes.
Yeah.
You know what you forgot?
What?
Horror movie rating.
Oh yeah. So what about scariness?
I'll give this a 3 out of 10 as well.
Mm.
Because I think the horror trying to be creepy, scary. I think it did better at the beginning compared to like later on. But then the I'm wearing a sheet and the boyfriend's glasses. Like that's because you know, but she doesn't. So you panic for her, and I'm like, lady, put the tits away.
Lady.
Get the phone.
Yeah.
So I'll give it a 3 just because it got me with one good scene, and the there's no like audio jump scares.
No, that's
which is
helpful.
I think is
they hadn't
very
really
positive.
invented those yet, so
yeah. And so like I think 3. It's a bit low, but at the same time, like it's still not scary.
Yeah, well,
regardless.
no, it's not very scary. That's probably fine, I guess. I don't have like a strong feeling up or down from that, so yeah, double agreement. Just get some double mint gum as much as we're agreeing on things.
Oh shit! Like what's the name? Like when you're playing like poker or Texas Hold'em or whatever, and you have like 4 of the same card.
Isn't that just a 4 of a kind?
For like, hey, we got a 4 of a kind today, a whole bunch of 3s.
That's all I have to say about Halloween.
The movie, not the actual holiday.
Yeah, not the holiday. We'll see you next time.
Later.